If only I had spidey senses, so I can tell when something's wrong. Oh, and I'm set to protect this heart from breaking into pieces. Where's my hammer? Where's the shield? Oh, the strength to carry the weight of the world. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall.
Now, here's your host, DJ Host with the Most.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Snap Decisions. I am your Snap DJ, your host with the most, and I've got a jam-packed episode for you today. So, a lot of stuff going on. Let's get right to what the agenda is. But first, let me congratulate the two winners of the season passes that I did indeed give away last week. Congrats to you both, and thank you. Be a huge shout out to all of you who retweeted and followed and all that good stuff. I appreciate it. And I hope it doesn't end there. I hope the relationship between us just starts there. It's fine to start off with a giveaway. I mean, hey, I've done that too many times over the years. But even if you didn't win, I hope that you checked out the pod and listened to it. You might find that you might enjoy it, and you might want to continue doing so. And those season passes will be given away every single month. Also, there was another giveaway that I had with the PAX East code that I was able to get too. So there might always be a sneaky one or something like that in there as well. So yeah, there might always be some things like that may pop up. So if you listened in and if you enjoyed it, well, welcome. And if you didn't, you're probably not hearing this anyway. But anyhow, we've got a packed agenda, and let me just go over what it is, because there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about today. So obviously we will have my reviews of the new cards, Techno-Organic Virus, Stryfe and Akanison. And of course, Wolverine as well. I think it's a little overwhelming to start off a month with 4 cards. I get it front-ended, they put more out in the front of the, I know they do the regular season pass and they put out the extra season pass, but, I'd be happier, I think, if they stuck to the game mode stuff a little later in the month, or at least the second or third week of the month. Because I think this was just too much. And when you get, like, I know me personally, I might have played Techno-Organic Virus maybe twice. Stryfe I've probably played the most. Akanison I haven't even played yet. So, and Wolverine I probably won't play, to be honest, because I don't play Destroy at all. So I think it was just a little bit too much to take in, this early in a month, in a season. So, but anyway, I'll give you my quick reviews of them. Like Wolverine, I can't even give a review on because I haven't touched the card. And then, of course, we're going on to our new series starting this week, the best cards in Marvel Snap. Instead of the worst, we got rid of the bad, out with the bad, in with the good, right? So we got rid of the bad, and now we're going to start the good. And this one, guys, the best one card was pretty overwhelming. Pretty overwhelming as far as the comments were concerned. This is going to be an easy one. So you guys can think about that for a little bit while we get there and before I announce the winner. But this was a pretty overwhelmingly voted one. Since we've been doing these, I think it was the one that was the most overwhelming so far. So maybe the favorites will be, easier. And then I'm going to talk about the Deadpool's Diner. We'll talk about the Diner, and I'll review that. Listen, guys, like it or not with the gameplay, it is still right now anyway. And if you don't believe me, you could check with Lauren Whatevs, who's the fact checker and always accurate with the math and things like that. But this is still the best way in the game to get rewards. Right now, it is still very, very generous as far as the rewards go and very, very easy to do. Now, there's a little bit of a weird glitch involved, which I'll talk about when we get to it too. So if you're still playing it, we only have a day or two, but if you're still playing it, take advantage while you can and get some of those cosmetics. Then we'll go to Comics Corner, and we're gonna talk about Stryfe, and we'll go over Akanison a little bit. I'm not gonna really talk too much about the techno-organic virus because it's a virus, and you really aren't gonna have much on Marvel about that except for the involvement in the comics. But it's a virus and not a character, so we probably won't go over that much. And Wolverine, I doubt they're gonna have much on him either. So we'll stick to Stryfe and Akanison. Then we're going to go to a minute at the movies, and this one's going to be special this week because we have news from CinemaCon, which just started last night. And a lot of the people that are out there, I have some friends of mine that I know that are there, that are enjoying themselves. I wish I could have gone. But nevertheless, they're kind of giving me some scoops, if you will, on some of the things that they see. And again, it's not a place where there's going to be spoilers. This stuff is open to the public now, but they just basically have panels. And last night's was a very much anticipated one to start off the show, and it was Sony's panel with a lot of titles that they're coming out with. Of course, they have Jumanji coming out this year, but the biggest ones, of course, were Spider-Man. So Spider-Man Brand New Day. And, of course, Into the Spiderverse, the Spiderverse movie, the next one that's coming out. Lord and Miller were there to talk about it, and so we got some stuff from that, too, which has everybody excited. Resident Evil has a film coming out, so that people were wondering about that and how that was going to go and stuff. So we got a lot of stuff from Sony last night, so I'll talk a lot about that. And then all these things on the TV stuff going on too, which aren't discussed at CinemaCon. That's only movies. But I mean, we had a Watcher sighting, which a lot of people missed, in Daredevil. So we'll talk about that a little bit, but it has been confirmed that it was indeed the Watcher. Somebody spotted it. And now this isn't from the current season, it's from the season before. But someone spotted it, and it was indeed confirmed by the director that it was indeed the Watcher. So that's cool. And then, of course, the Doomsday test screening results are in. Some people got a test screening of it. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to a test screening for a film. I've been to a couple. But they are very weird because, the special effects aren't done. And sometimes people will write like an actual review of it as if it's the movie, and they'll kind of like slam it because they'll be like, oh, it looks bad. Well, yeah, I mean, it's supposed to look bad. The special effects and things like that aren't done until the very end. A buddy of mine worked in special effects. He worked on some big movies. He worked on Man of Steel, in the company that he worked for. And he tells me a lot about that and about how that stuff is done and about how things progress and how the special effects can be worked on right up until the release date of the film. That's how close they can cut it. So if you ever go to a test screening, don't expect much. And that's why a lot of people don't necessarily like to go to them, because not only is it going to spoil your stuff, but it's probably not going to look very good. But anyway, they're in. So we'll talk about those as well. And a couple other things. We'll talk more about Maul. Maul, the Star Wars series Maul is fantastic. If you're not watching it, it's one of the best Star Wars things to come in a while. And I would believe that it's probably going to get better ratings than Mandalorian and Grogu, which I've been kind of disappointed by what I've seen. It looks like an extension of the show, which is fine. I like the show. But the graphics in it don't look like the quality of a movie. They look like TV quality. So to me, it just kind of seems that this might have been planned to be season 4 and that they just said, oh, let's throw it in the theater. Because the old regime, right, the Bob Iger and the Kathy Kennedy regime didn't necessarily have all that stuff together. The new regime now with Dave Filoni in charge, I mean, even hell, Mark Hamill himself just kind of gave him a lot of praise and said he's very confident that it's going to get much better under Dave Filoni because Dave Filoni studied under George Lucas, which is true. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, Maul has been great. So we'll talk a little bit about that and stuff as well in there. And then we have Pixel Perspective. There's an upcoming, possibly upcoming PS State of Play coming, which is, of course, for PlayStation. It's going to go over all the, they had one last year, but they usually do a couple. And then this one will be all the previews for the upcoming games, for the end of this year. So going from like the summer to through Christmas time. And I don't know, maybe we even get like a little tidbit about the PlayStation 6 because the rumors for that are ramping up. So that's what's on the agenda. We'll talk all about all that stuff. So let's get into it, shall we? So let's start off and we will go over the new cards. So obviously it was the season, the start of the season. And like I said, it's basically a continuation of the X-Men season as far as the comic book part of it's concerned. It's kind of all the same stuff. And again, I've told you guys before, I've never been a gigantic X-Men fan. It has never been my favorite in the Marvel universe. Just never really read the comics very much until the 90s. And so I've never been a gigantic X-Men fan, so I can't say that I'm a huge fan of these last couple seasons. It's okay. I mean, the Apocalypse storyline is pretty cool, but for me, it hasn't been as exciting. But I'll also, tell you this. It hasn't been exciting in Marvel Snap, period, because the same old meta is back, and it's back in full force. I mean, to the effect of where people are playing they're playing the decks, the same old decks, guys. The same old decks. You have Star-Lord, right? You have Star-Lord, still prominent out there. People are playing it a little bit differently with some different cards in it. Stryfe's in it now because now you can hit the Stryfe and get that to be the Star-Lord. So Star-Lord is back. Shulao never left. That's still out there. A lot of people are still playing that. And of course, Fin Fang Foom gets included in the Star-Lord deck. So there's really not much new out there. It is the same old. And when the meta gets to be that way, it becomes extremely stale and extremely boring. And if you try to play a deck that could possibly be, that may be just like a favorite of yours. Maybe you're trying to play some of the rock decks that are out lately, or maybe you're trying to just play something else that you like, and you just constantly get buried by these same old decks. It's going to get to be very exhausting for you to play, especially on ladder, because, it sucks to lose all the time. And, and of course, because of the way that bots are generated, the bots are even going to probably be playing them because they tend to play like a lot of the popular decks. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to play them as well as players do, but they still will have the same decks. So they, I said this a couple of weeks ago. I didn't feel that the Star Wars nerf was enough. Again, when they do these nerfs on the cards and they're just taking a point or two of power away and they're not getting to the root of the problem, it doesn't change it. Sometimes it will, but these cards were just overly powered. And, Shulao was way overpowered. Star-Lord, way overpowered. And even Fin Fang Foom, way overpowered. So if that's the case, a couple of points of power here and there. And I said that about Fin Fang Foom. You guys can go back and listen. I said to everybody when that nerf occurred that it's not going to matter. He still does what he does, and I said, my solution was that he only copies the power of one of your opponent's cards, not the entire row. Because then that would at least make it that it's not so bad, and you could even make it the lower of the two. Like maybe the front lane has a card that's a 6 power, and then maybe you have a card that's a 2. So he would then only get the lower of the 2. And so he would only get 2 power. So until they fix that, he's going to be very overpowered. It doesn't matter unless you make him an 8 cost or something along those lines, which they're not going to do that. And Star-Lord, again, they didn't get to the root of the evil of the card. They reduced its power, but and change did they change the cost? They might have changed the cost. But like I said, what they did doesn't matter. When you're still seeing it being played very prominently in the meta, the changes didn't matter. So they're going to have to hopefully re-examine it and just, because I think a lot of people share my feelings. In fact, I asked about it yesterday on my Twitter. A lot of people share my feeling on it. There's people that are just not playing the game at all, which is bad. That's not good for the game. Or they're just not playing ladder at all. But even doing that, and I can tell you because I've been playing a lot of Deadpool's Diner. I've been playing my Conquest stuff to try to catch up on my on the points and stuff toward the card. And they are still playing those decks in both Deadpool's Diner, which is a limited time game mode and only goes for 3 turns. And they're also playing it in Conquest, and they're playing it on in Proving Grounds, which I think is completely asininely ridiculous. But whatever, like I said, these are the sweaty people who just no matter what the cost, even if you're playing a game mode that doesn't even matter if you win or lose, as long as you're snapping every turn, or whether you're playing Proving Grounds, which means absolutely nothing, they're still playing these decks. So now some of that could be bots, but it does make the game boring. It just does. And, so that's the observation that I've had. And I really think that a lot of people kind of share that and people want to see a change. And I think their next OTA, they're going to have to re-examine some of these cards. Because it's just, like I said, the meta right now, especially Infinite Ladder, is very, very, very stale. There are some people that are able to, that were able to get through it, and they're playing some different decks. I know Lauren played the Invisible Woman, last turn deck, where you have the Havoc and all that kind of stuff in there, and you're just using the Invisible Woman Jocasta thing, at the end of the game with Iska. I think Iska's in that deck now. So I know, she was able to get to Infinite with that. So there are some people playing some different stuff, but it's, again, for the most part, it's still just same old from the last 3 months. And there's really not much of a change. So I think they have to get to a point where they have to admit to themselves, all right, we have to change this up. This has just gotten very stale. So the new cards, and again, like I said, I've been pretty much just sticking to the same deck. Some of these cards I haven't tried. So, Techno-Organic Virus, obviously it's a 1 cost. On reveal, copy this to your hand with a +2 cost. Infect other cards here and replace their text. And then copy this to your hand with +2 cost. Infect your other cards here. That's when it infects them on the board and then infects them in your hand. So essentially it's what it does. I'm not seeing many people playing with it. Not that I've played against. I think I might have played one deck that played against me with it, and that was in Deadpool's Diner. And I beat it pretty handily. So I don't think that this card is all that great for a skill. But again, I'm holding out hope that a lot of these skills like that we're getting are going to be more useful in a draft mode, because they're not made for one specific deck. They could be used in just a variety of them. So maybe that's why we just continue to get a lot of these skills. But this one isn't going to be one of the ones I'm going to stick up there as being very good. Then, of course, we have the Season Pass card, which is Stryfe, 4/6. His objective is super easy. Play 3 on reveal cards. Come on. Chances are, in almost any snap deck, unless you're playing ongoing, straight up ongoing, any snap deck is going to have 3 on reveals. Any one of them. So, and then it says use the highest cost on reveal in your hand. So again, if you have a Star-Lord in your hand, he's going to copy the Star-Lord. He's going to hit the Star-Lord. So you can have him hit Star-Lord first, and then Star-Lord can hit next, and then you're just going to have a flood of energy to play at the end of the game. He can also hit Fin Fang Foom, because many times he's going to be the highest cost card in your hand. and he'll just hit him, and then you're going to get a second Fin Fang Foom basically out of Stryfe. He could also hit like a Galactus, an OG Galactus. If you're playing a Galactus deck, he can hit Galactus. So you have two ways to get that. A lot of times, and he has the same power as Galactus. So a lot of times, you're fishing for the Galactus, and it's a little tough to get. So you play Stryfe in your deck, and you're going to have basically an extra Galactus in there that you can possibly get. So yeah, this is a pretty good card. I don't know if it's going to be the best of the month, but it's pretty good. It's definitely not broken like the past season cards have that I've already spoken of, but it's a pretty good card. And then lastly, we have Wolverine, Horseman of War. This is a 4/3 objective. This has 5 or more power. So it has to be buffed. It has to have 5 or more power, and then give one of your cards at each location plus 3 power. So it's technically a card where you're going to have to buff it. And again, that doesn't necessarily go with a destroyed deck. You have to have cards in there specifically that are going to do that, like a Gwenpool or something along those lines that are going to buff the card. Or maybe there's just a location that's going to make him bigger, but it's not going to jive very well. I don't like his stat line. I think for a 4/3, it's not great, and it's not an easy objective to do. It's going to fit in a specific type of deck, which is going to be kind of a hybrid, I would guess, where it's going to be buff and then destroy. Now, maybe you could use a Nova, right? Like old school destroy, where you could buff him that way. But otherwise, yeah, this card is not a favorite of mine at all. It's not great for the plus 3 power, and stuff like that. One of your cards at each location. So, you're getting 9 power out of him. So he ends up being a 4/12, but the objective is the problem. And, I don't know that there is a deck type that's really like that's going to do well. And again, I haven't seen this guy played whatsoever. And I've played against a bunch of destroyed decks, and I haven't seen him in any of them. So that just goes to show you. I just don't think people have figured him out yet. And lastly, we have Akanison. He is a 2/3. He was from the limited time game mode. So, of course, he's from Deadpool's Diner. You're going to activate him. Creates a 1-cost card at another location. Increase the cost each time you're winning here as the turn starts. So if you're winning his lane, as the turn starts, the cost goes up. So it could go to 2. It could go to, now you're going to play him on 2, right? So if you're winning that lane, the card you will pull off next turn will be a 2 cost. Next turn is a 3, 4. I think the highest you can get is a 5 if you wait with him until the very end of the game. But there's a lot of detrimental 5s, like Red Skull. Let's say you pull the Red Skull and he minuses all the things in your lane. So, there are some good 5s you could pull, but he's kind of a wait and see card. But again, this isn't a card I'm really seeing a lot played. I think Safety Blade was messing around with it a little bit and said it's not bad. Again, you have to wonder the more you see it. And again, the reason why I'm not seeing it, it could be because of the meta. Because the meta is just, like I said earlier, no one is changing. So, and no one's really including any cards in their decks that are any of these. So I think I said that before the season started, that I wasn't really sure if this season was going to change much. About anything. And when you look back at it, take a look back at last season and tell me which cards, other than maybe Gambit, are you seeing being played in decks right now in the meta? Not much. I'm not seeing many in Sabanurs, if any. I'm not, so the cards from last month, I'm not seeing very many of them played. Ramatut, I'm still seeing here and there. But I think those are honestly mostly bots that are playing that. So like I said, this is 2 months in a row now that we're not seeing a whole lot of play. I would say, I should say Gambit, to be fair, Gambit, Ozymandias, and Selene are probably the 3 that are seeing the most play. Ozymandias is in one of the top decks that's out there right now. And Celine is also in there too. So those three are probably the ones that are getting played the most. So that's essentially my reviews, of the new cards, and what I think of them. Unfortunately, of the 4 cards, I would say Stryfe is the best, which a lot of people said they thought that he was going to probably be the best card of the month. And I would say that is definitely the case so far. I, other than Stryfe, don't have any really that I'm playing in any of my decks. Wolverine, I probably will never play. Akanison, maybe just to try out. Techno-Organic Virus, I don't see myself playing either. So we'll see how the season goes, and we'll go over the new card that's coming out, in a half hour. All right, so let's go to the best cards in Marvel Snap. So we're on to the best. We covered all the worst ones. So we are on to the best. And like I said earlier, this one is going to be pretty easy to go over because this was overwhelming as to what you guys voted for the answer for this. And I got votes from Twitter. I got votes from Blue Sky and stuff too. So, but this was an overwhelming winner. Now, the ones that I put down, I have the Hood. The Hood sees a lot of play, right? I mean, it's not a good card in itself. The Demon is the good card from it, but still. I have Deadpool. I mean, Deadpool is a key in a destroyed deck. You don't see destroyed decks without him. Kitty Pryde. Kitty has been a staple in decks for as long as I can remember. She finds herself into like the zombie deck. She found herself in that. And she's still finding herself in meta decks today. So Kitty Pryde. We have, I put in Scorn. I mean, Scorn for a discard deck. Again, have to play it. It's an essential card for that deck type. Agony. Agony's been huge in like the Man Spider stuff, buff decks and all that. So she's been used a lot. Hydra Bob. Hydra Bob is in the Invisible Woman last turn decks. He's in zoo lists. So again, another very good one. And then lastly, I pictured Nico Minoru as the last one I had there. But this is the comments from you guys, so I'm going to go through them. We have, first one is from Rob. Rob says, I feel like Iceman is a game changer. Out of the gate, he can force an opponent to change a carefully thought out strategy. That's true. It's quite random though. And that's, with a card like that, that's the problem, right? Because you might hit one that's going to really affect it. Like you might hit a 6 cost that's going to turn it to a 7 that they just can't play. So in that case, yes, but it is kind of a crapshoot card. But I agree. I mean, it is a much better card. Now here we go. Orange Alert says, for me, it's Nico, but Hood and Spider-Ham are close. The only other one drop I use a ton is Deafening Chord. Vladimir says, this is not a discussion. It's Nico. Not asking for the best 1 cost for your deck. That's correct. I was just asking for best 1 cost overall. Not your favorite or most used, but overall Swiss Army knife of Nico. She can buff like Agony, move a card like Nightcrawler, destroy and change the location. Let's stop this. It's Nico. Vision says, I agree with all of them. So he liked all the choices I listed. OMG, it's Matt Geske. This is my guy. Goes in many of the decks I play. Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler's a lot better at a 1-3 right now. Yeah. He is in a lot of decks, and it was a card you really didn't see much. TZ says, I'm going with Nico as my top 1 cost, so versatile, fits into so many decks. JNR says, my pick would be Nico, just so versatile. Nick says, Spider-Ham, defo. Nick says, the GOAT of number 1s is Nico. Flavit says, my 3 favorite 1 cost to play Nico is probably the best because she's so versatile. So Nico, he has Spider-Ham and Deadpool. Sewerman says, I don't think it can be anything but Kitty. She's been a cornerstone of so many absurdly powerful decks and lets you invest energy into a card while throwing priority. Kitty will always have a home in the meta and gets better and better at higher level play. Flo Flocky says it is and always will be my queen, Kitty Pryde. Honk says, I think it comes down to Nico or Hood at the end of the day. Everyone else is amazing, a true cornerstone in their archetype, but these two can just do so much more. The three most beautiful ones, now this is probably by, these are variants that he had. This is RDGS AM, has a cool Agent 13 variant, a black and white Deadpool variant, and a gold split Nightcrawler. So yeah, they all look very cool. All right, let me go over to the Blue Sky. By the way, for those of you who are on Blue Sky, make sure you give me a follow. Okay. Now, I put this up a little bit later than the others, but I got the same. So Matthew says, was Batroc? Probably is eventually, actually Nightcrawler now, but I think most players agree. The real answer is always Nico. Joselu says, Nico Minoru, is there any doubt about this? Fangride Amos Cut says, it's Nico. Batroc is right up there. Weirdly, as is America Chavez, and I'm so here for it. Nightcrawler, Bob, and Squirrel Girl are also great ones, but Nico for sure. And then Tompa Jelly says, not even close. It's Nico. Please don't let them nerf her. I'm pretty sure we have our winner, guys, and I think it's overwhelmingly. And I had some other people's thoughts come in other places too, and they were all the same thing, and it was Nico Minoru. So Nico Minoru is your favorite one cost, and I could certainly see why. It's been a very powerful card. She is very versatile. She does a lot of things. She can be used pretty much. Let's put it this way. She's never going to be a dead card. And as I mentioned about Iceman earlier, you get to control what she does, unlike with Iceman as to what it hits. It's random. The same thing with Spider-Ham. Spider-Ham is very powerful. It takes a card completely out of your opponent's structure, and it doesn't work anymore. Some say it's even a little overpowered. I think KM Best was talking about that a little bit ago. So yeah, there are arguments to be made for the others. And people were even bringing up Batroc because during when that move deck was so prominent, he was huge in those decks. But Nico can do a little bit of everything, and the key there is the versatility of the card. So I remember when Nico first came out, and people were just like really kind of wondering like how to use this card, like what am I supposed to do with this? And now, like, look at it. It is just extremely, extremely popular, and really does fit in just about every deck. You know, if you stuck it in probably almost any deck there is out there, you can find a use for it very, very easily. So yeah. So there you go. So the best card, best one cost card, according to all of you or most of you, is Nico Minoru. So congrats to Nico from the Runaways. But there you go. All right. Well, you know the drill. Next week's show, I will have the twos. So the best twos in the game. So I will give you some examples right after this pod is done. A little later on tonight, I'll put out the two costs that I feel are very good. And of course, you guys can start thinking about your twos and which one you're going to vote on. Remember, you can send me your votes of course, on the Twitter post, on X if you're there, on the Blue Sky post if you're there. You can send them to my Discord. You can send me them in the comments from Spotify or, of course, from Apple or wherever. But yeah, let your voice be heard, and we'll see who's the best two is next week. All righty then. Speaking of Spotify comments, you know, I have a very bad habit. And I know I heard the folks at Snap on This talk about the fact that, you know, a lot of times you don't read the comments. I'm bad for this too. I a lot of times forget about them. And okay, it looks like I only have one, so thankfully I've only missed one. But again, I apologize. This is literally from like 5 weeks ago. Marin Hondius says the barely playable before they changed it was a response to Ghost. it says new season, Iska feels unbeatable. Worst 3-card in Snap, Galactus again. So the barely playable before they changed it was a response to Ghost. Okay. I guess a clarifying thing there. But sorry, I didn't even read that. I'm really bad with that. I need to check that more often. All right. So we're going to move on. And I'll get back to my agenda here. Let me just want to make sure that I'm doing what I need to be doing. Okay. So let's talk about the diner. Look, I understand that this gives people, this doesn't necessarily give people a lot of warm and fuzzies. And I get why, because it was at a point where, this was just so bad. Like before this recent change up, before they changed it the last 2 times, include this time and then the time before, it was so bad and nobody wanted to play it because it was very sweaty. It was very hard to do. It was very hard to accomplish doing what you needed to do. And so I could totally understand, why people didn't want to play it. Totally get that. And, I'm buying a card, by the way. That's why I'm pausing here. I just bought the Wando variant of, Lady Deathstrike. It was in my shop, so I paid the tokens for it. I always liked this one. It's very creepy. She has those huge hands, with the nails and stuff coming off them. It's like a purple and like it looks like a demon behind her. It's very cool. So I always wanted to get it, and it just popped up there. So I got it. But yeah, I can understand why people didn't want to play it. Totally, because I was right there with you. There was a time when that came out, when the diner came out the last time, and I was like, I'm not going to play this stupid mode anymore. I'm done. And, but now, since the changes, they have really made it much, much easier, and way better, to get the rewards. And so I think that's a good thing. Again, whenever a game company, listens to what the fans are saying, then, we can't always just be down on them. We can't always say what's wrong, but you have to come out and admit to what is going right. And this is one of the things that is going right. This is one of the things that they absolutely fixed. And it is so easy. Like, I'll tell you guys where I stand right now. Now, I've gotten the whole rewards track. So I got everything off the track. And now I'm at the point where I'm getting by the way, and this comes from Lauren Whatevs, the math wizard of Snap. The boosters that you get in the Chef's Daily Special, if you like splitting cards, you should be getting these every time they come up. Because at 10 nachos for each, you're getting 55 boosters for 10 nachos, which she said is the best deal. And I can imagine that is. So if you're one who likes to split cards, make sure you're grabbing them every time they change in the shop, which is what I've been doing. Now, I don't split a ton of cards. And of course, some of them I just pulled. I'll probably never split. I just pulled one for rescue. And so, but they're obviously going to be random. But if you like splitting cards, this is a very, very good deal. But so here's what I've gotten. And again, I'm not playing it constantly, but I am making sure. Now, again, make sure that when you're in a game, you are snapping all 3 times. Don't forget any snaps because, and this was a little weird, there's missions in here. And you only see them pop up at the very end of your game, which I find is weird. They're nowhere else to be seen. You can't see them unless I'm blind. But, and there's other people that have said the same thing back to me when I said that there were. But one of the missions is to snap 3 times. And I've seen it pop up because I snapped 3 times and all of a sudden I see I'm getting extra nachos for that. So make sure you're snapping all 3 times every time you play. There's no reason not to. Because even if you lose the game, you're going to complete the mission. So it's not going to penalize you in any way. And if you're completing the missions, you're getting more nachos. So make sure that you're snapping all 3 times in every game you play now until the end of this mode, which is when is it done? 14. No, that's the chef special. When is the actual mode over? When are we ending? Where is it? Now I know it should be in here. Of course, the chef special ends every 8 hours, I guess. I could swear they had a time on this, but I am not seeing it. Hold on, let me go back. Oh yeah, there it is. So 2 days. So you have 2 days left where you can just go snap crazy, get all those missions done, and you can get yourself the cosmetics. So so this is what I got. I got the premium mystery variant, which for me was a lousy avatar. I got the 100 credits. I got the 50 credits. I got the mystery border, the premium mystery border. I got Hit Monkey, the variant, the Pandart variant. I got the Tyler Walpole variant of Cable, and I got the astonishing variant of Psylocke. I got the emote of Zabu. He's very sad. Zabu is very sad. His eyes are filled with tears, and he's holding a thumbs up. So this could be, when I first saw this, I had to chuckle a little bit because I'm like, we all know what the thumbs up means, right? You have the deviously smiling Ms. Marvel doing it, but now you have the very sad cat doing it. So it's almost like if you take the meaning of the Ms. Marvel one, and you have this is like a loser emote, kind of like I lost, so I'm just gonna cry and I'm gonna give you the thumbs up, like thank you for beating me. But you can also say that I'm giving you the thumbs up. It means the same thing that the Ms. Marvel one does, but I'm a little sad because I lost. I don't know. This is a funny one, but I got that. The Series 3 Collector's Pack, the Series 4 Collector's Pack, I don't ever get those because I'm collection complete. I got Akanison. No avatars. I'm not blowing my money on avatars because I get enough avatars. I don't even hardly change my avatars, so I don't need them. So I didn't spend anything on those. The distressed borders and the matte borders, I'm not a fan of. I just don't like them. The gold distress one is not a favorite of mine at all. The black matte and the red matte I don't like, so I didn't spend anything on those. I've been buying the red fire borders because I do like those, but so I'm down to 6 left of them. And the gold chains, I have a bunch, so I wasn't really buying those either. So I was just basically buying the borders that are coming out during the Chef's Daily Special. Now I'm going to miss these because we only have 11 minutes left. The yellow neon border, but again, the neon ones are okay. They're not my favorites either, but I got a whole bunch of borders. So you guys could be doing this too and taking advantage of this, but this right now is the best mode in the game for the cosmetics. Hands down, no questions asked, and not even where you have to buy buy your way through to them. This is just, you can go in, you could just play, snap every turn, complete some missions, and you're getting nachos, and you're going to get all the stuff that you want. So yeah, they really improved this. So again, hats off to them for that. Alrighty, guys, that is going to do it for the opening section of the pod. So we are going to go to the next section, which is going to be in a snap. And of course, that's my week in review. Now, I am at 81 already. It hasn't even been a week. I'm in the 80s. But I did get to 83, and I lost like 7 straight games last night. And again, I don't know why I don't learn my lesson. Do not play this game in the late night, early morning. Now, by late night for me, I'm talking 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Do not play it at that time because for whatever reason, you come up against very difficult. You're going to come up against, that's when I hit all the Star-Lord decks. That's when I hit all the Shu Lao decks. That's when I hit, for whatever reason, counter my decks. Now, I'll be honest, I've been playing one deck, and it got me through to where I am. So it got me out of the 60s, out of the 70s, and into the 80s. And that one deck I'm playing is, again, OG Galactus. And let me tell you, OG Galactus has feasted in Deadpool's Diner. It's one of the first game modes that I can remember that OG Galactus was even allowed in. Because in most cases, he is not allowed in game modes. They ban him. He's allowed in the diner, and so many people, when they play those sweaty Star-Lord decks, and this is the reason why I think people are having success. Thor Newman, who I had on my show a while back, great guy, check him out. He does streaming, of course, on Twitch, so go check him out. But he is also playing Galactus and having success with it. And I don't think that's a coincidence. The big thing with and I've always said this, the good thing about a Galactus deck with the OG Galactus is you know easily when you're not getting it. So now you do have some bigger cards that you can still kind of compete with, but you know when you're kind of screwed. Like if your opponent is playing cards down like mad every turn and he's getting he or she are getting all their cards down and you are not getting any priority, you're kind of screwed, right? You need priority in the deck because in order to play the Galactus, unless you're going to get a sneaky Galactus, which every now and then you can, but it's not often. But if you don't have priority, you have to quickly switch up your strategy. And if not, you have to bail. But the reason this is good is because so much of this game is going on late game play. And it's also because people are filling the boards. They are filling the boards right now more than ever. Between the Doom deck filling the board, the Rock decks filling the board, they are filling these boards. So, if you catch them with a Galactus and another one that I was beating handily was the Invisible Woman last turn because they've got to set that lane up just so much. They've got to do Invisible Woman. They've got to get Joe Costa in the lane. They want to get something else sometimes in that lane, like a Prodigy. So they're trying to set all that business up. And in the meantime, you've got a nice little open lane where Galactus can go and wipe their entire thing out. And they really have no choice but to leave the game. Sometimes they'll stay in and they'll put like a Havoc down or something like that. Or maybe they'll stay in with an Iska. But there's ways you can easily get around that. And these decks most of the time have Eliath. So if you wipe their stuff out, follow up with an Eliath, they're dead in the water. Even if they play a Fin Fang Foom, they're getting a 10 Fin Fang Foom with no bonus because you use the Eliath. So Galactus is very good right now in this gameplay. And also because people are waiting until they get the Star-Lord and all that kind of stuff. So let's say they get the Star-Lord out. They're not using any energy for turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. You have the Jennifer Kale. You may have a wave, and then you get the Galactus out, and you have you're going to more than likely have priority if they're waiting that long. You get the Galactus out, and even if they play the Star-Lord now, they can't copy it. If they don't play the Star-Lord and then they have to play it on that one lane, yeah, they can get off a big last turn. But again, in many cases, if you plunk down something like a Red Hulk or something that's just much bigger, or like the Galactus First Steps or whatever, then you still have that Eliath on the last turn to make sure that they're not doing something crazy like a Shu Lao or something like that. So this deck has been really, really good. And what it is, and I've talked about this before, but it's Chamber, Jennifer Kale. Chamber's there to give you priority. Jennifer Kale, obviously, there to give you energy. Electro. Now, there's many times when people are saying, Electro sucks. You have to play one card per turn. Yeah. But if you get to the point where you don't have a Galactus, he's not that bad only playing the one card per turn because most of the time in this deck, you're going to have all these big cards, which I'm going to get to, that you're not going to mind playing one of them per turn. So, Electro, Luna, Wave. Blink. So you can blink out the Electro too. Make sure that when you're playing this, and if you do play an early Electro to try to get out of Galactus, or I shouldn't say that. If you play out an early Electro, make sure you play him into its own lane. Because especially if you have the blink in your hand, because you're going to be able to tell, do I have the card that is going to be bigger than the Electro in my hand for the blink to work? Obviously that costs more than the Electro. So the only cards you have in this deck that are going to cost more than Electro are your 5, 6s, and your 7. So let's say in your hand at the moment, maybe you have most of them, or you're pretty sure that the only card that she is going to blink in is going to be your Galactus. It's not hard to figure that out, even if you don't have a deck tracker. If you know in your hand you have the big stuff. Like you have Fin Fang Foom, you have Galactus, the other Galactus, Red Hulk, Eliath, and Vision. Or maybe Vision's already out somehow. Or one of those cards is already out somehow. you know that you're blinking into Galactus. And if you have priority, you're going to hit it. So, this has been very good. I won a lot with it through, like I said, I didn't lose hardly any through the 60s, through the 70s. And then until I got to the 80s was when I started running into a little bit of problems. But again, my bad probably for playing so late at night. And there's also been amazing in Deadpool's Diner. So if you like the OG Galactus, give it a shot. It's doing really well. Some other decks here. I don't have a bunch, but this is a new one. This is from KM Best's list. Now this is one, and I think Safety Blade is playing this a little bit too. Shout out to him, by the way. I think he's #1 player in the world again, on ladder. This one is a Super Giant deck. Now again, what are we bringing back? See, this is what I'm talking about with the meta. The Super Giant counter deck with Ronin was huge prior and even won a tournament because so many people were playing Star-Lord. Well, then the nerf came. Star-Lord dwindled a little bit. This went out of favor. Now it's back in favor again with Super Giant because the people can't make that big turn 5. So Nightcrawler, Akanison is in this. Iron Patriot, Scarlet Witch, Rhino, Cosmo, Rocket and Groot, Vision, Debris, Negasonic, Supergiant, and Ozymandias for the rocks and stuff. So this is kind of like your counter deck right now if you want to try something that's going to be able to beat the Star-Lord decks or beat the Shu Lao decks and all that kind of stuff. This is the one that was the one I played with the Techno-Organic Virus, and essentially it's just a Surtur deck. So it's Techno-Organic Virus, Sauron, Zero, Ebony Maw, Lizard, Nightmares in this too. Star Brand, Crossbones, Typhoid Mary, Enchantress, Red Skull, and Infinite. I think I won like 2 games with it and lost a couple. So, it's kind of up and down. Sauron's really not in favor right now, because of the gigantic Fin Fang Fooms and things like that. So you're not really able to outpower much anymore, when your opponent's playing like a Star-Lord type thing. So, this is from Safety. This is a, Rocks deck. This is Squirrel Girl, Nightcrawler, Sandstorm, Armor, Rhino, Patriot, Cosmo, Debris, Selene, Juggernaut, Legion, and Ozymandias. Legion is the secret sauce. Legion just wins you games in this deck. You just win games. I won a game yesterday with this because it was the land that gives you the ninjas, and I was able to Legion ninjas over to my opponent, and they literally were playing one of the I'm going to fill my lanes decks with Gambit, and with the ninjas going through, I completely filled all their lanes. So they were screwed. They couldn't do a damn thing on the last turn, and I still had another turn to play, and they had no choice but to leave. So this is a pretty good one. The Armor and the Cosmo are there. Armor, obviously, to defend your 1 cards, and your rocks and stuff like that in case someone uses Killmonger, but he's not been very prevalent in the meta unless somebody's playing Destroy. Cosmo's also in there as a Destroy counter too, so. Next up we have, I think I went over this last week. This is the Star-Lord deck that most people are playing right now. This is called the one that came called Ethical Snap. Jim Hammond, Psylocke, Grandmaster, Luna, Wave, Absorbing Man, Juggernaut. Now, he has Stryfe in this, of course, because you can always Stryfe, like I said, you can always Stryfe the Star-Lord, which is next. Arnim Zola, Alioth, and Fin Fang Foom. This is, again, you're just trying to double Star-Lord with the Arnim Zola, maybe with Stryfe, and then you're trying to basically play, you're gonna probably at least have 11 energy on the last turn, which is going to allow you to Fin Fang Foom, which wins the lane, and you're going to be able to Juggernaut another lane. So it's pretty easy to play, and it just wins. There's another one. This is a weird kind of one. This is another Star-Lord deck, but this is Nightcrawler, Hydra Bob, Cosmo, Drax, Avatar of Life, Luna Snow, Starbrand, Juggernaut, Negasonic, Crossbones, Cull Obsidian, Star-Lord, and Scars. It's kind of like a Surtur deck with the big cards, But then you also have the Star-Lord stuff that's just going to be able to plunk down things. And again, it's just for all that stuff you can put down in the last turn. I mean, you can easily play probably a 0-cost Scar at some point on the last turn. It's just to get off that big last turn. Shu Lao, this one's been pretty much the same. It has Kitty, it has Nico Minoru, Agony, Merlin, Kate Bishop, Maverick, Cosmo, Hope Summers, Juggernaut, Stryfe is in this too. Because again, you can get the on-reveals from the Shell Lao, or you can get the on-reveals from Fin Fang Foom, which is also in here. I'm going to change this. Okay. There we go. I wanted to put the right variant for Kitty in there. All right, and I think that might be it. Oh, I never said the Galactus one, I don't think. So in my particular version, and I've seen a couple, Fawthorn Newman plays with it a little differently, but this is Chamber, Jennifer Kale, Electro, Luna, Wave, Blink, I have Vision, Galactus, Eliath, Red Hulk, Galactus for Steps, and Fin Fang Foom. Now, the reason for the Vision is to just be able to move him around. If you play him, now I think this is for bots mostly. If you play him in a lane, the bots at least I think are less apt to suspect that you're playing Galactus. And a lot of times they won't retreat. And the same, I guess the same as some other players too. Vision's a card where people just kind of forget about him. He's there, he's in a lane, he's 9 power. That's really all they look at. And they kind of just forget that you can just move him around anywhere you want. So you can move him out of there. And if an opponent just has given up or isn't playing the lane because you have 9 power there, you can easily then Galactus that lane. So that's why I've been in here. Now, Fawthorn Newman had Majestic Wingbeat in his instead of Vision, which is smart. But what I was finding is a lot of times it's just not hitting. The leftmost card just isn't the one I want to hit. It said give the leftmost card in your hand +2 power. If it's 5 cost or higher, -1 cost. So if you don't do it on a bigger card, you're not getting -1 cost. It's very good if it hits a Galactus, because that then is going to go to a 5 cost and it's going to have 2 extra power, which is very good for him. He'll be an 8. So, but I didn't have success with that one. And when you look on Untapped and you look at these decks, the one that I'm playing is the one that I think is the best one on Untapped. It's not by much. It's like 60% win rate, and I think the one that he plays with the Majestic Wingbeat was like 58 or 59. So it's not a huge difference, but at least for me in my meta anyway, I'm seeing more success with the Vision. And then lastly is good old Doom, man. Good old Doom is still around. A lot of people playing this. This should just be a good cards deck, essentially. I mean, I know it's Doom, but this should just be a good card deck. It could also be called an Aurora list. But I mean, the good cards that are in this: Chamber, great card. Moondragon, great card. Invisible Woman First Steps, great card. Caliban, he's in here for what he provides. It's going to afflict the card with -7 power, and it could do it on the last turn of the game, can turn a game. Drax, Avatar of Life, great card. Iska the Unbeaten, great card. Doom 2099, you all know what he does. Iron Lad can just get stuff that you don't have. Cosmic Ghost Rider, one of the only tech cards right now that's still prominent in the game. Sandman in here, of course, to limit your opponent from just playing out a whole bunch of cards last turn. Doom, Dr. Doom himself, and then Aurora, which is going to buff everything, which I still don't have a variant for, by the way. No variant for Aurora. But anyway, that's what I've been playing. That's the decks that I've been playing. So we are at the 3 o'clock mark, or a little after. So let's go and let's take a look and see what's in the shop. I'm just going to get my free gold and my tokens. Let's see what we've got, shall we? We have an Awesome Andy avatar, a Bastion avatar, and a Copycat avatar. Ooh. Wow, look at these variants. Oh, it's a Flaviano album day. Yo, his colors are amazing. Like, amazing. I mean, sick looking. There's a Moira X. So they're all more recent cards. Wow, they look amazing. Awesome Andy looks so cool. He has a screen that says you're doing just fine with hearts. Bastion. Wow, man. Just like the neon colors and stuff. Jim Hammond. Wow, that's sick. That is sick. Do I even have... Warlocks is cool. Wow. Flaviano Cyberpunk, they're called. Okay. Dude, these look tremendous. Danger. Super Adaptoid. And then Omega Sentinel. Wow, the colors of these look spectacular. Like the colors are just, they are gorgeous. I'm going to look and see what these look like when they're split. Wow, Omega Sentinel looks amazing. Oh my gosh, these look incredible. Super Adaptoid's holding looks like Thor's hammer and Cap's shield. This blue Danger is going to look hot too. Oh man, do these look sick. The Warlock. So far, the Hammond one pops the most. Wow. Hammond is amazing looking. I mean, these are all good. These are all good. The question you got to ask yourself, because they're 1,200 gold. So you got to just decide which ones do you use, right? Awesome Andy doesn't get used much at all. Moira X, I don't see very much, but she did have that destroy deck. Bastion. Bastion gets used in Cerebro a lot. Hammond is being used in the Star-Lord decks now. Warlock doesn't get used much at all. Danger doesn't either. Super Adaptoid never does. And Omega Sentinel was getting used on the last turn stuff, but not that much anymore. So, I don't know. For me, I'm looking at that Flaviano. I want to see the album, though. Let me see what you get in the album. Your first unlockable in the album is an emote. So you're getting the new Wolverine from this month as the first unlockable thing you get. So if you get 3 of these variants, you unlock the emote, the Horseman Wolverine emote. So that's pretty cool. The next unlockable is 4 purple cosmic borders. The third one is another card, which is Jocasta, which obviously she is probably the most popular one of all these cards to use. Are there any that they didn't put in the... Oh, there are. There's a Copycat and a Viv Vision. Oh my gosh, Copycat looks sick too. But they're black and white out. You'll see it in the store tomorrow. Wow, these look sick. At the end of the track, you get 4,000 credits. But man, pretty easy emote. You know, if you buy 3 of them, well, not easy. I mean, 1,200, 2,400, 3,600 gold you're spending for an emote. So, all right. Well, there's that. So let's go over to, we got the new card, which is Archangel. So I'm going to open up my Series 5 pack. And here's what I'm going to get. Of course, Archangel, Horseman of Death. So there you go. It is a 2/3 objective. Your cards are destroyed 4 times. So you have to destroy things 4 times. Destroy deck, pretty easy. Resurrect one here with 4 power. So it's random. So you're going to have to destroy cards 4 times, and then you're going to resurrect one. I don't know. It's kind of random. I was saying when I saw this that it's, what else am I getting? Boosters, that's it. I very seldom ever get the tokens from that. A lot of people I know get the 4, there's like a grand prize to get in those packs, like 4,000 or 5,000 tokens. I never get them. I think I saw it once. Let's see. Spotlight variant, I have Nebula and the ultimate variant of Arrow. So there you go. So I have that. Oh, man. I don't know. I might want that Jim Hammond. We'll see. We shall see. Conquest Shop. Oh, there's a morph in the Conquest Shop by Matt Dixon. It's kind of funny. It's kind of pulling on his face. Pretty cool. I like the art. This week's unlockables are a title only buys techno-organic produce, morph boosters, and a gold ticket. I'll probably end up getting it. I never really missed that card. So, okay, let's look at some of the variants that I got over the course of the week. I got a lot. This week. Because I bought some of the ones in the albums and stuff like that, but I also got some just playing Deadpool's Diner and stuff too. So, obviously the techno-organic virus. I got the premium season pass. I got a cable. Now these came from the limited. This came from the diner. So I got Cable, the System Studios variant of Cable. He's firing 2 guns coming out toward you in the card. Looks pretty cool. Cosmic Ghost Rider. Now that I think about it, I talked about this, didn't I? Yes, I did. I talked about this on the last episode. Duh. But I got the Cable. I got the Wolverine, the Nicola Sismegia. If I talked about this on the last one, you'll have to excuse me. I don't remember if I did. I got the Astonishing variant of Psylocke. And I got the Pandar Studio Hitmonkey. And I also got the Cesar Vergara Kitty Pryde. And I got the Kingpin, which I never had the noir version of Kingpin, which is many people's the one that they play with. And I never had this. So again, it's one of those older ones. He's holding brass knucks and he has money flying there. I think he looks cool. So I got that. And today, as I told you guys earlier, I just got the Lady Deathstrike, the Spotlight version of the Lady Deathstrike, which I did not have until now. So I'm going to see. Well, I want her as my main Lady Deathstrike, so let's move her into there. Aha, there we go. Nice. Okay, so I got the Lady Deathstrike. Let's level up the Archangel Horseman of Death a little bit. Got a couple boosters for him, so I can do that. Just got some Starhawk boosters also. And, all right. Let's see if I can go anymore. Nope, that's it. Okay, so there you go. They're the variants and stuff that I've gotten so far. And that's it for that. The Day 7 login event is done. And I managed to get a Dan Luvisi variant of Carnage. I don't know if these are different for everybody or everybody gets the same one. Oh, never mind. No, this just started. No, okay, my bad. This is a new one now. They're doing another 7-day login rewards. Never mind. We finished the other one. This one has, so I just got 50 credits. This one has the Black Sheep of Clan Ascani as a title. 65 boosters, day 3. Day 4 is a mystery variant, which I'll get 200 gold. Day 5 is 100 credits. Day 6 is Carnage boosters, and then you get the Carnage Dan Luvisi variant. It's kind of cool variant. Let me see how it looks split. It looks pretty sick, actually. I have a lot of Carnage variants, but I didn't really have very many good ones, but this one looks pretty good. I actually kind of dig it. All right. Let's go to I'm going to go to my rewards. Quick. See what I got. Or maybe Snap will just crash on iOS and I will not see what I got. I start to wonder, and thankfully somebody asked in the devs questions if they were going to make it a point to get this game fixed on mobile. And I think Griffin answered it, and he said, yes, it's one of the major things that they're working on this year. I hope so, because I'm going to tell you what, it's getting super frustrating to play this on iOS. Super, super frustrating. And maybe that's what it was the whole time. But it's crashing a lot now on my phone, which is a 15 Pro Max. Not really that old. It's 2 generations old, and it's crashing constantly. And so I really, really hope they are doing that and they get some fixes out for iOS, because it's bad on iOS right now. There's a Misery bundle for $50 that just popped up. Let me see what I've got for Alliance rewards. Let's see, we got the Mystery Border credits. Boosters. So we got 350 credits. Copper Metallic Border, Colossus boosters, Vision boosters, Silver Surfer boosters, Cannonball boosters, Debris boosters, Joe Costa boosters. Oh, and you got some Stryfe boosters. Okay, that's cool. My Alliance rocks, by the way. Speaking of, let me see. Just look and see how my members are. I think we're full. Yeah, we are full. We are full. All right, so there you go. That is now the end of my weekend game. All right, we're going to move along on to Comics Corner, which is where we will discuss the cards. So we're going to talk a little Stryfe, and we're going to talk a little Akanison. All right. And again, this is also Nathan Summers. So Nathan Summers Stryfe, Earth 4935. His quote is, "Cable, stab your eyes, Nathan, you've ruined this. Look at you. You're old. You're weak. Killing you like this is almost meaningless." Almost. Stryfe is a mutant clone of Nathan Summers, better known as Cable, the son of Cyclops from the X-Men, and Madeline Pryor, a clone of Jean Grey. In the late 37th century, Mother Askani, leader of the Askani cult, sought a warrior to challenge the tyrant Apocalypse. She sent Sister Askani back in time to retrieve Nathan, who was infected with the techno-organic virus. In the future, technicians attempted to save Nathan using advanced technology, but opted to clone him due to the severity of his condition. The clone Stryfe was raised by Apocalypse with the intent of becoming a vessel for his own consciousness. His name, of course, is Nathan Summers. Alias is Stryfe. Also, let's see, affiliations, formerly of Kronos Corps. Dark Riders was the leader. Mutant Liberation Front, founder and leader. Mutant Liberation Army, founder and leader. Scions of Apocalypse, co-founder and leader. His relatives, of course, his parents: Rachel Summers, Mother Askani, creator, adoptive mother. Sabat Noor, adoptive father. Siblings are Cable, Diamanda Nero, Rachel Summers, Mother Askani, and Nate Gray, alternate reality half-brother. He is single. Physical characteristics: he is 6'8", 350 pounds, blue eyes, gray hair. Mutant clone of Cable is his origin. Askani secret headquarters was his place of birth, the late 38th century. Cause of death: shot by Cable, later returned to life, killed in the explosion. Personal info: his identity is secret. Citizenship is Noram Pact region. Occupation: formerly leader of the New Canaanites in North Am Pact region circa 3783-3806 AD in an alternate future. Later terrorist leader in the 20th century Earth, formerly Prime Minister of Latveria. His education: extensive Askani training, homeschooled on late 37th to 39th century education. Base of operations: formerly Black Court's Netherworld. Various bases worldwide in both 20th and 38th centuries. Creators were Luis Simonson and Rob Liefeld. Rob Liefeld. First appearance: New Mutants number 86 in December of 1989. And his death in the comics occurred in Deadpool Wolverine number 10, October 2025. So just recently that happened. Of course, Apocalypse cloned him. His mother was Mother Askani. New Canaanites, the Clan Chosen War. There's a lot about him. Present-day terrorist, Mutant Liberation Front, Executioner's Song, the Legacy Virus. As a means of spreading further destruction, Stryfe had not given Sinister the Summers genetic matrix, but the Legacy Virus, a disease genetically engineered to be lethal to mutants. This virus was similar to the one that the Clan Rebellion had attempted to destroy in the future and was far beyond even the best of scientists, biophysicists, and geneticists of the current time. The Legacy Virus infected a large number of mutants and killed many of them. It was in Blackheart's realm. Returned to the land of living and attacked Castle Doom in Latveria in a pyramid. Was resurrected. Then there's the Messiah War. Vendetta, Chronos Core. Was in Deadpool. Cable and Kid Cable. Marauders. His powers, Stryfe is an Omega-level clone of the mutant Cable. Described himself as an Omega-level mutant. As a result of that clonal relation, he possesses all of Cable's natural mutant abilities, including being an Omega-level telekinetic. Stryfe also possessed other abilities through genetic manipulation, similar to those that Cable achieved through cybernetic augmentation. His telepathy was stated to be far beyond Psylocke's, stated to be the third most powerful on Earth. Psionics, just like Cable, primary mutant powers included vast telepathic and telekinetic capabilities while he was alive. Possessed psionic powers were vastly superior to those of Cable's due to the fact that the vast majority of Cable's psionic powers were unconsciously being devoted to keep the techno-organic virus that had ravaged the left half of his body from doing the same to his right side. He's a telepath, create telepathic illusions, can cause people to experience events that are not actually occurring. He's a telepathic cloak, can mask his presence, mind link, telepathic camouflage, mind control, mind trap, mind possession, mind alteration, mental amnesia, psionic shield, psionic blasts, astral projection, mental detection, mind transferal, telekinesis, intuitive aptitude, force field, concussive blast, telekinetic flight, genetic augmentation from Apocalypse, superhuman strength, speed, stamina, and durability, agility, and reflexes. Genius level intellect, master combatant, and he does have paraphernalia, which of course is his armor. Always wore a suit of armor constructed of an unnamed light but highly durable alloy from his time that helped render him even more resistant to physical forms of injury. Stryfe was actually named after his future self in a direct timeline. Stryfe returned to the modern era and almost killed Apocalypse, stabbing him with a sword that he claimed that Apocalypse used to kill him at one point. 3,000 years after Apocalypse survived the ordeal, he named the child that he believed to be Nathan Summers, who he was infected with the techno-organic virus during the modern era Stryfe. The recommended readings for him are Executioner's Song. So there you go. That is Stryfe. And we are now going to talk a little bit about Akanison. Akanison. So he has a quote here. In the end, it was not your legendary fairy tale goddess who overthrew Apocalypse. It was a handful of living, breathing people who gave their all so that others could reap the benefits of that struggle. But look at us. Another shadow looms over the world, one that may prove greater than Apocalypse himself. And how do we meet the challenge? By holding services at night and turning over our food and earnings to support the Canaanites by day. And that's Nathan Dayspring. That's who he is, actually. Akanison number 1, previous issue of Cyclops and Phoenix number 4. And then, of course, Akanison number 2. So he has his own books. And available in Marvel Unlimited. Very cool. Release date on those is December 14th of 1995. And the cover date was February of 1996. Editor-in-chief was Bob Harras, Harras. Writer was Scott Lobdell and Jeff Loeb. Penciler is Gene Ha. So he has his own book. So that's pretty cool. The synopsis of the book is, years have passed since Nathan had battled and defeated Apocalypse. He's joined by Tetherblood in listening to a retelling of the past and how the X-Men were formed, and then the final battle of Apocalypse. The storyteller Fossil says that Mother Ascani defeated Apocalypse. At this miscommunication, Nathan stands up and calls Fossil out. After making the scene, Strador Umbridge finds Nathan and takes him and Tetherblood prisoner on her ship. In New Orleans, Stryfe uses his powers on innocent bystanders while Javert looks on. Stryfe is upset that his kingdom has not been rebuilt as he has planned, since he is the sole heir to Apocalypse. Javert can only look on in dismay and cannot understand what he has done protecting Stryfe like this. Meanwhile, Nathan and Tetherblood are taken to New Canaan. There, Strador Umbridge is told to come to speak to Tribune Hate immediately. In the ship's brig, Nathan meets Blacksmith, Blaque, tells Nathan that he is there to help. He finds a small globe inside Nathan's body and turns out to be the professor. He greets Nathan and Blacksmith and then goes unconscious. Blacksmith goes unconscious. The guards enter and pick them up. Strador Umbridge meets with Hate, who tells her that she is to go to find the remaining 2 Ascanis in Eurasia. He also talks of the Ascani Messiah, who is Nathan. She thinks that sounds like the man she just put in the brig. She leaves to go investigate. Blacksmith finally recovers and just in time to tell Nathan that he is in danger and they need to escape. He distracts the guards and they shoot him, apparently killing him, though his body disappears. Tetherblood and Nathan jump to an escape pod and the professor takes over and blasts off. Strador Umbridge watches as they escape. They plan to find the last Ascani. Elsewhere, Stryfe and Javert enter a part of the temple that houses a machine that creates atom units. Here he creates a unit designate 0. He announces that his prime directive is to resurrect the High Lord. Stryfe smiles and says, now we can begin anew. Recommended reading, Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix #1, Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix #4. So there you go, a little bit about Ascani Sun. Of course, he is also a version of Cable. Ascani Sun leads into events we see in Cable solo, like Cable 1, 24, 25, and 36. This is from Reddit. There's not a straightforward series showing all the rest of the events leading up to Aaliyah's death and Cable return to the present, but the pieces are pretty much all there between Adventures, Ascani Sun, and Cable. Only tricky thing is that with the young versions of Cable, we've seen on and off since the extermination event, it's no longer clear if Cable's original origin even happened. Kind of doesn't matter. Old Cable seems to be remember one way or the other, but it feels like these are all versions of Cable. And again, you could tell my X-Men knowledge is pretty bad. And I've admitted to you guys that I didn't read a lot of X-Men. So all the X-Men peeps out there, you're going to know these a lot better than me, and where they come from. But yeah, these are all versions of Nathan Summers. These are all versions of Cable. So, and some of you probably are like, duh. They are all versions of Cable. And of course, they're talking about the techno-organic virus, which was a very popular thing with Cable. So yeah. All right. Well, we're going to now go to the Marvel Unlimited app, and I'm going to talk to you about some comics. And I just told you where you can find the Ascani Sun stuff, but let's type in Stryfe here. The Stryfe character. A clone of Nathan Summers, Stryfe exhibits all of Cable's vast mental abilities, but does not suffer from the techno-organic virus. Raised by Apocalypse, Stryfe used his powers and future tech to become a formidable foe. And there are comics in here. You have Stryfe's Strike File from 1993. He was in Deadpool, Wolverine, Cable, Blood and Metal, X-Force, X-Force Killshot, X-Men, of course, a bunch of those, Cable. He was in the book comic I just told you guys about called Ascani Sun from 1996. Genesis. Deadpool Wolverine, who's actually in What If, and then a whole bunch of X-Men books. And Akanison is in that issue that I told you about earlier. So there you go. You can check all that out in the Marvel Unlimited app. And I am going to go to the books of the week. I was just looking at these yesterday, and I read a couple of them already. So this is the new this week list in the app. So again, $9.99 a month, Marvel Unlimited. You can read all of this. And going back to the really old stuff, to the new stuff, a couple months behind, of course. But you can read a lot of the new stuff as well. And if you have a comic book store near you, as I always say, go and check them out. It's always fun to go and get comics from a store and read them that way. But this is what we have. We have Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Brooklyn's Finest, issue number 13. We have Venom 2025. That is Mary Jane Watson, by the way, who has the mantle of Venom. And that is up to number issue 253. Nova Centurion, number 2025. That's up to issue number 3. Han Solo, Hunt for the Falcon, has ended with this issue. It's up to issue number 5. So that was just like a 5-issue mini series, and that is all finished up. So that was pretty good. It was a cool little story that, like I said, kind of filled in the blanks. That's what I like about the Star Wars comics. They're oftentimes, at least lately, better than the movies and the series. They fill in the blanks between what happened to Han after, of course, the Return of the Jedi time, up until the new trilogy that was put out. So it's kind of cool. X-Men Infinity Comic 2026, that is up to issue number 13. All new Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider, is up to issue number 6. X-Men 2024 is up to issue number 23. Ultimate Wolverine is up to issue 13. Spider-Man Noir is up to issue number 4. Marvel Black, White, and Blood and Guts, issue number 4. Ultimate X-Men, issue number 23. Wolverine 2024 is up to issue number 14. Amazing Spider-Man is up to issue number 19. That's a new run. Marvel Mutts is up to issue number 23. And then these are all old what ifs. Kind of cool, from 1980s. 89, Gambit is in one of them, what if. What if J. Jonah Jameson adopted Spider-Man? Is one of them there. What if, what is this? It's Black Cat and Spider-Man, I think, but what's going on here? It's just called What If, starring Spider-Man, The Men Behind the Mask. What If, starring Fantastic Four. And this one is The Thing Became Human Again, from 1998. I read that. I'm pretty sure I did. This is What If, starring Captain America. Looks like he's fighting a version of Iron Man. What If Archangel, Death of Dissidents. So What If Spider-Man. Ooh, that one's about Man Spider. Wonder why they're showing that. Oh, I want to open this one up. Arachnomorphosis? Oh boy. I wonder why they chose to re-show this one or bring this back. This is something that is being rumored to possibly happen to Peter in this movie, right? That we've seen. I'm going through this a little bit because I just want to see. Now look at this. Peter's going into his refrigerator, says, I'm hungry again, want meat. And then he goes into his refrigerator and he just is eating raw meat. He's talking about Gwen and I can never be together again. And then he spits it out, saying I've become a monster. Wow, dude, I wonder. And then he's kind of like flashing back to when he was being picked on by Flash Thompson. sometimes they take stories out of the comics to adapt to movies. And I wonder if they're going to borrow a little bit from this. It's a freaky kind of look. It almost looks like a horror type story. Midnight, I hunger, and he has a whole bunch of arms. Must have meat. But now he's definitely like Man Spider. And he's saying that's third time I passed out this week in my clothes at night and woken up face down in a pile of leaves on the lawn the next day. And that obviously is what now, and you see webs outside of his window. This is some of the stuff that they are showing in that trailer, where Tom Holland ends up out on the outside of his house, like in the webbing. Yeah, this is crazy. Like, it's all like it almost seems like it's a fever dream or something like that, but is it really a dream? I'm changing. Must control transformation. There's a character in it named Sarah. I don't remember reading this. I mean, I probably did, because it was I'm going to have to read this again, because if this, I mean, wow, this is a long book too. I'm still paging through it. I wonder if this is like a, why won't you leave me alone? He's definitely like transformed into Man Spider here. But this is more of a modern, like, retelling of it. And then, hold on. And then somebody's moving into the X Mansion at the. I really wonder if that's going to be maybe a little bit of what they're going to adapt to the film. No, that's interesting that I found that. Wow. Okay. I'm surprised that they put that on there, but I guess they do things for a reason. You know, these comic book, the people who have them, of course, it's a Marvel property, Marvel Unlimited. So maybe they're just giving you a little bit of a hint that being like, hey, go read this if you want to know what they're doing in Brand New Day a little bit. So there you go. That could entice some people into going and checking it out. All right, well, whatever. That is Comics Corner for the week. I hope you enjoyed it, and go read some comics, because, you know, as I always say, it's just fun. It's fun. All right, guys, that is going to take us to the next segment of the podcast, and this is called, going forward, I told you this last time, A Minute at the Movies. So, let's get into all of this, and this became a big thing. Of course, CinemaCon is happening right now in the movie industry, and we are going to look at a lot of this. I have notes, I have pictures, just a lot of stuff that is going on right now in the movies, and with CinemaCon happening, there's a lot of geek stuff going on. So. Yeah. But let's see. The first thing I want to touch on here, and this was just kind of a cool thing. This was somebody that discovered this from Daredevil, not this current season, but Born Again, the last season, that there was a scene where Daredevil's running past a building, and then you can clearly see in the windows that somebody picked out a very large face was in the window, and it was all darkened out, but it was like a giant's face peeking through this big, huge window, and it had slits for eyes, and it said on the thing, "Always watching." And it turns out that it does very much look like the Watcher's head, and so somebody pointed it out, and it was indeed, it says, "Daredevil Born Again producer confirms the Watcher was in the latest episode." So that's very cool. That he was in there, and so again, Daredevil running on the street. No, this wasn't last season. This was this season, actually. Was it when I wonder if this was when Daredevil's running after Bullseye down the street. I think that's when this was. That's so cool. Cool little Easter egg. Another cool Easter egg in the Spider-Man trailer that was released. And Ned and Mary Jane have a little bar party going in their apartment. Some alcohol. And one of the things on that bar is called Green Jackal. Green Jackal, spelled Jackal, which of course is an Easter egg to the Jackal, whom some, and I'm sure probably because of this, have rumored that they said they think the Jackal is maybe the main guy that's behind it all. Which would be very cool if that was true. I love Miles Warren, and I love that character. Kind of where the whole clone saga came from. But very early on, he was one of Spider-Man's deadliest foes, who was actually kind of creepy because he was an older dude, had gray hair, and he was madly in love with Gwen Stacy. And that would not happen today. That would be very extremely creepy because Gwen was like I think like 18, 19 years old at the time. So it was very, very creepy. But anyway, yeah. So, very, very, very cool little Easter eggs that appeared. And before we get into the CinemaCon stuff, I'm going to go through all my little notes here. So, this is from a survey that was done. I think I might have talked about this on last week's pod, but I'm going to mention it again. 10 most anticipated summer movies of 2026, as done by Fandango. Number 1. Well, let's go from 10 to 1. 10 is Insidious: The Bleeding World, which they showed the first trailer from that. If you're into that, they showed it at CinemaCon last night because this is a Sony thing, Blumhouse and Sony. I will not watch these. They're possession-y type stuff. So if you're into that, that is number 10. Number 9, Warner Brothers. DCU is Supergirl, which we probably will get something at CinemaCon from that. Mortal Kombat 2, Warner Brothers. Minions and Monsters from Universal. Moana, live action from Disney. Disney, of course, is doing the last day of CinemaCon. The Devil Wears Prada 2 is also Disney property. Spider-Man Brand New Day from Sony, which I'll talk more about because we got some more on that last night. Toy Story 5 from Disney Pixar is number 1. We got a poster of Clayface. Clayface, obviously, will probably get a trailer, I would bet, when we get the stuff from DC and Warner Brothers. The poster looks sick, man. It's got his face like coming out, and he's kind of grabbing onto both sides of his face. This is supposed to be a body horror film, and it says shaped by tragedy, molded in rage. So as you can imagine, when Clayface transforms, probably doesn't feel all that good, and he looks like he's really in pain on the poster. So, if you're into horror and you're into body horror, Clayface will be for you. This one was a big one throughout the course of the week. Avengers Doomsday had a test screening recently. It tested on the same level as Infinity War. Now, most have loved Infinity War more than they did Endgame. And it's saying it's tested on that same level. So that's saying something. Audience say it's the Russo brothers' best Marvel film. Take that into account, shall we? The Russo brothers Marvel film list. In fact, I'm going to look that up. Russo brothers Marvel movies. Captain America Winter Soldier, which many to this day say is their favorite Marvel film. Captain America Civil War, which many say that's up there. Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. That is for their 4 Marvel films so far. And people are saying that this is their best Marvel film over what most people consider to be their favorite Marvel films, which are Winter Soldier, Civil War, and Infinity War. Crazy, if that's true. crazy if that's how many people are going to score this. Seen at CinemaCon was the Masters of the Universe. Huge display. Comes to theaters on June 5th. If you are a fan of He-Man and you grew up with the toys, Jared Leto is playing Skeletor. And of course, we have Prince Adam standing there. We have She-Ra. We have Cringer. We have the Castle Grayskull in the back. And then there's Man-at-Arms on the display too. So that's kind of cool. I'm sure that'll be featured. Not movies, but TV. This was shown. This excited me. The Incredible Hulk. So the one with Lou Ferrigno and Bill Bixby from the 1970s. When you probably know the song at the end more famously than maybe you do the show, or maybe you never watched it. But it's the da na 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 da na 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 na. Da-na-na-na. They call it Walking Man because he's walking away at the end of every episode. It's always very sad. Like whenever Bill Bixby would have to go from town to town because he couldn't stick around because he would turn into the Hulk and then he would be on the road and he'd be hitchhiking away from that town and going to the next town. He was a drifter. So it's very, very sad, the music, but yeah, that is indeed, coming to Tubi. So if you want to go back and watch it, if you never have, I would wholeheartedly suggest it. It's probably one of the best Hulk things that's out there. And of course, he would not, they didn't have the special effects like they do with Mark Ruffalo, to transform him into the Hulk, but it was still done very well. And he would turn into Lou Ferrigno would be the Hulk. So Lou Ferrigno was a big bodybuilder at the time. And he was the one who would paint himself green. And he was the Incredible Hulk back then. So if you have never seen this series, I would highly suggest when it comes onto Tubi, go ahead and watch it. Because it's very, very cool for its time. And it actually ages well. You don't get the effects and you don't see all that kind of stuff. But it ages very well. How about this for some movie news? Wilson Bethel, who is currently playing Bullseye in Daredevil, auditioned for Captain America and actually made it to the final callbacks where it was down to him and Chris Evans. Isn't that crazy? He did 2 camera tests, costume tests, and met with director Joe Johnston for Captain America. And then they ask here, do you think he would have made a good Captain America? I mean, look, nobody's going to be better than Chris Evans in the role. Chris just was a great pick by that. But how about that? And now he's playing Bullseye. So good for him that he's still in there. And he's doing a great job as Bullseye as well. But how about that? That's kind of cool. All right, guys. So this is from CinemaCon. The first trailer for Zach Cregger's Resident Evil sees a man trapped in an abandoned city filled with zombies. Now, supposedly we got some more info on this today. He is the guy who played in Zach Cregger's Weapons. He was the drug dealer. So the kid who was the drug dealer in Weapons, the younger guy, actor who played the drug dealer in Weapons, that is who is going to be in the film. That is this man trapped in the abandoned city filled with zombies. One scene sees the protagonist running through a street as zombies throw themselves off the roof. Damn. Listen, Zach Cregger has been very, very good with horror stuff. I'm going to take a bet that this may be or will be the best Resident Evil we have seen yet. I'm just going to take a bet. Zach Cregger is really good, and he's been on fire lately with his stuff. So I'm willing to bet that this is going to be the best Resident Evil we've seen so far. All right, guys. The Spider-Man footage. This is what we got for the description for it. The 2 friends that I have that went got to see it. And they kind of described it to me in the similar way. But while he was in person, Tom Holland, of course, was not there. But they had a hologram kind of a thing that introduced an extended scene from the much anticipated Brand New Day. The sequence sees Holland at a bodega where he spots his old friend Ned Leeds, Jacob Batalon, who no longer remembers him. Peter follows him to an apartment party where he realizes Ned has created a spider tracker app to figure out who Spider-Man is. When MJ Zendaya walks in, Peter stumbles in, reintroducing himself as Maynard. As the 3 walk into the kitchen, MJ's boyfriend, Amanda Sfondi, kisses her as a heartbroken Peter looks on. Scene is followed by an extended sizzle reel that showcases the movie's dynamic, slow motion, heavy action, including a brief glimpse at Peter's eyes turning black, indicating the rumored transformation into Man-Spider. Fans who want a lonelier, more angsty Spider-Man seem to be in for a treat here, with Tame Impala's Loser really selling the mood of the piece. The movie looks to be having its cake and eating it too, with expensive, larger-than-life action married with intimate character work. Sony is obviously very confident in the film, and given what they showed at CinemaCon attendees, they have every right to be. So that's what the people at CinemaCon saw. Like I said, my two friends of mine who are there confirmed a lot of this, and they were able to see this also. So that's very cool. And 2 brand new posters have released. Again, in the tradition of the posters with the Spider-Man face close-ups. You see a poster and it says Spider-Man Brand New Day. He has MJ is shown in his lens, the lens of his eyes. And then you can see New York at the Empire State Building on the other side. So in the tradition of the way the posters have looked with the big face close-up. And then it says, of course, July 31st. The other one, Spider-Man New Day, and he's coming up to the red ninjas. So the hand, I'm assuming they are. And you see them, and it's kind of just a different angle from what you saw in the trailer. He's on the top of the poster, and the ninjas are down there underneath him. And he's in the middle. Now, some people rumored that maybe there was more people in this fighting with him, and maybe this is not the final poster. But you do see Spider-Man in the middle. Now, there's a lot of stuff on the sides that are missing that almost looks like there could be other people there fighting these ninjas with him. Some are saying that it could be Daredevil and it could be the Hulk fighting these ninjas along with Spider-Man. So maybe they are missing from this poster. It's could very well be. Could very well be. I told you last week on the show that I am a big fan of Jacksepticeye. And apparently he is producing an R-rated animated Bloodbourne movie. He put out a video today talking about it. So if you want to watch that, you can. But if you're a fan of Bloodbourne, and he is a huge fan of Bloodbourne, loves the game, said it's one of his all-time favorite games, if not his favorite game ever. And he is going to be producing on this R-rated Bloodbourne movie. So that's cool. It is, of course, animated. Then we got something, according to from Clayface. DC Studios already has the first trailer for Clayface ready, and it could premiere tomorrow during the CinemaCon or throughout the week. So that is, of course, today. Additionally, the marketing is about to begin. And then they showed 4 small little... well, no, wait, hold on. We'll get to that in a second. Sony Pictures boss slams theaters for endless advertising before movies. This was at CinemaCon as well. This from Culture Crave. Get rid of the endless advertising. This is a quote. Get rid of the endless advertising and substantially shorten the pre-shows. Get off the ad crack. That came from Sony's Pictures boss, talking about the endless advertising before movies. I would agree with that as well. I think that's a great point. I mean, how many times you go to a movie now and you're sitting there. The movie start time doesn't even start for almost a half an hour after the movie start time is advertised because you're getting all these ads. So I would kind of agree with that. This is going back to the Jacksepticeye thing. There's a quote from him here. I'm going to do everything in my power to make this the best Bloodbourne adaptation possible. Not only is it my favorite game ever made, but I know how truly passionate the fans of this game are. So that's cool. Confirmed characters that will appear. And again, Lord Miller were there to talk about Spiderverse. So confirmed characters that will appear in Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, Jefferson Morales, Rio Morales, Aaron Davis, Miles G. Morales, Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, The Spot, Peter B. Parker, Mayday Parker, Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Punk, Spider-Man India, Spider-Ham, Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, Penny Parker, Spider-Bite, B-Y-T-E, Lila, Tombstone, and Kingpin are all confirmed to be coming back and appearing in the third movie of this trilogy, which they did indeed show some stills. You have a still here with Miles and his, I believe that's his uncle, who is the Prowler. They have a still scene with, that looks like Agent Venom almost, who is grabbing Miles by the neck. So maybe Agent Venom is in this. Gonna Save Your Dad, that's Spider-Punk. So showing Spider-Punk with Miles. Then they have another scene of that looks like Miles as well in a car. So you got 4 stills from Lord and Miller that are showing scenes from this, and this is highly anticipated. Spider-Verse producer, this is from MCU The Direct. Spider-Verse producer Chris Miller says that Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse is the most emotional Spider-Verse movie we've ever made. We're going places that we literally could not have gone before. And that was also said at CinemaCon. So that's exciting. A lot of people are, and this is more about the Bloodbourne thing. Sony Pictures revealed an R-rated animated movie adaptation of Bloodbourne at CinemaCon. The film will be an adult animated take, leaning into the game's dark horror tone. And then we got one about the Batman. Matt Reeves says the villain in the Batman 2 will be connected to Bruce Wayne's history and life. Picking the right villain that digs into what that does, that sort of goes into his past and his life. That was what drove that discussion. I'm wondering if we're going to get Hush, because that would make a lot of sense with this quote. Bruce and Hush were friends growing up, so I thought that would be awesome. They have some elements of the Long Halloween that already had been mentioned for that. And this is from Variety, talking about Zach Cregger's Resident Evil trailer. The trailer starts out with Austin Abrams' character stumbling upon an abandoned house in a snowy field, desperate to find a working phone. He frantically calls his girlfriend and apologizes for getting disconnected earlier, and that they may never speak again. Shots of horrifying zombies fill the rest of the trailer, including a pale, bloated monster sitting at the bottom of a sewer. The biggest moment of the trailer comes when Abrams is running through a deserted street as a zombie horde chases him from the rooftops. It ends with a zombie bodies splattering violently. The creatures plummet to the ground. So that's a little description of the trailer that they got for Resident Evil. And the official synopsis of Beyond the Spider-Verse. Hunted by Miguel O'Hara's Spider Society and betrayed by his friends, Miles finds himself in the darkest corners of the Spider-Verse in search of a way home, knowing that his family has been not only fractured, but endangered by his calling. It's a race against the clock for Miles to travel across the wildest reaches of time and space to fight for and reunite everything he holds most dear. So that's the synopsis of Spider-Verse. The brand new day's scene description again. This begins with Peter seeing Ned in the bodega. Peter hangs up from the phone and watches as Ned buys too many kegs of Green Jackal beer. That's the one I told you about. That was in the scene. Peter follows Ned across the street into an apartment party. In the party, no one knows who Peter is, but a stranger gives him a beer cup. Peter goes into Ned's room and finds his Chewbacca Lego figure. Aww. On Ned's research wall, there are headlines about a Parker prodigy, Porkour, and a skyscraper squatter arrested for the 8th time. Peter meets Ned, in quotes, who tells him about a spider tracker app that he invented to help him track down the identity of Spider-Man. Ned says he narrowed it down to 2 people, Flash, Eugene Thompson, and Mr. Harrington. Oh, geez. Then Zendaya's way off, isn't he? Then Zendaya as MJ comes in and makes her friendly neighbor comment that we saw in the trailer. We find out that MJ has a new boyfriend played by Amon Esfandi. Peter sadly watches them kiss. Ned asks MJ about the job she interviewed for. Got the job but turned it down. A soulless corporation. Could that be Oscorp maybe? Oh, man. I would love to go to these CinemaCon things, man. They sound like so much fun. And maybe someday, right? Maybe someday I'll actually get there. But in any case, That is a lot of the stuff that went on at Sony's presentation last night, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, guys. There is so much going on in all the stuff and in all the things. So that's just a little bit of it, but I'm glad I got to read out some of the stuff for you guys, that you can kind of get a little taste of what's happening in CinemaCon. But if you want other stuff throughout the course of the week, I'd highly suggest you check out, oh my God, now I'm going to forget his channel. Oh, geez. I was watching it last night. He had a video on at 1:00 in the morning. Let me go here and let me see. John Campea. I highly suggest you watch John's channel. It's very good. He's doing live stuff from the CinemaCon. So again, if you're a night owl like me and you want to hear about what's going on there, or about the trailers and stuff that they saw and things that they're going to see, you'll see them eventually online. I'm sure they'll end up coming out. But some of the stuff is exclusive to there. But if you want to know what's going on, check out John Campea's channel. Really fun. I listen to him daily now. He does a daily audio podcast and stuff too. So if you're into movies like I am, listen to that. Very, very good watch. So, all right. We are going to move on to, I think that's all the notes I have. Just let me double check. Got the Resident Evil stuff, got the Spider-Man stuff, got the Spider-Man posters, got the Clayface stuff. Yeah, we're going to move on. We're going to go to Pixel Perspective, and that's where we're going to end up the show today. So we're going to talk a little bit about video games. Now, there is a rumor that there will be a State of Play coming for PlayStation again very soon. There is this breaking info. A lot of people have been talking about GTA. So Grand Theft Auto 6 gameplay has been revealed following a data leak at Rockstar Games. Oh boy. Are we actually going to get Grand Theft Auto? I guess we will see. Whether it's going to make it out. But I am going to go and I'm going to give Bloodbourne a shot. I'm going to see if I'm going to be able to play it. It is supposedly one of those games that is very, very hard to play. Very, very hard to play. There was also an announcement, by the way, of Godzilla -Zero teaser reveal. That came from last night as well. Spider-Man Brand New Day, Sony CinemaCon. So yeah, you'll see those videos all over the place today, because of course that was announced yesterday. So, all right. So let me just see if there's any cool video game news that is coming up. Let's go to IGN. IGN's a good one for video game stuff. Bloodbourne R-rated animated movie in development with Jacksepticeye producing. Legend of Zelda movie gets a small update. Yeah, they were expecting a little more from that, but there really wasn't much talked about with for the upcoming Zelda movie. So that's a shame. I know John Campea had mentioned that they were disappointed that wasn't the case. A lot of the video game stuff is probably going to be about this whole Jacksepticeye thing and Bloodbourne. News from across the gaming world. Let's see. Michael Myers, of course, the Halloween game got a review from IGN. Unfortunately, when they did their review, they had some bad, and again, it's in very early stages. They showed some videos of him where Michael kind of like clipped through a door, and stuff like that. And it's a shame that they kind of showed that. That kind of sucks. But you got to remember, it is still in early stages of development. It's not coming out till September, so they'll get a lot of that stuff fixed. But Let's see. April, the release of Replaced, a free Cyberpunk 2027 PS5 Pro update. The announcement of Metro 2039 for an upcoming Xbox. Replaced, the 2.5D Cyberpunk thriller is now available on Xbox and PC. Cyberpunk 2077, a free PS5 Pro update is available, enhancing visuals. Mouse PI for Hire, a first-person inspired by the 1930s cartoon, launches on April 16th. Pragmata, Capcom sci-fi game, is now available. Overwatch 2 now available in a 60 FPS version for the Switch 2. Hackers threatening to leak stolen data from Rockstar, with the developer confirming a breach. Uh-oh. Nintendo Switch 2 reportedly suggests potential price changes for first-party games. Epic Games Fortnite has laid off and experienced staff cuts. There is an Xbox showcase set for Thursday, April 16th, 2026, featuring Metro 2039. So for those of you who have Xbox, that's an upcoming event. Fable Reboot. Development is reportedly delayed. Spider-Man. Recent rumors suggest a new PlayStation game is in development. I was talking about that last week, how I've been playing the older Spider-Man games. And that's been around for a while now. And some people are saying it's going to be released coming out in time for the PS7. Let me see if there's anything else here. How deep in Lego Batman lore? This is from IGN. Legacy of the Dark Knight reveals Gotham by Gaslight batsuit. Steampunk, anyone? Legacy of the Dark Knight is pulling from everything in the world of Batman, the movies, the 60s TV show, and of course the comics. Today, WB Games revealed the Lego Batman version of the Batsuit from Gotham by Gaslight and the beloved steampunk Elseworlds comic from 1989. So a couple more bat suits coming. That's cool. Mouse PI for Hire looks cool. It's black and white. It's like the old Disney black and white Mickey Mouse stuff. That looks cool. I'm actually excited for that Batman. Here's Mouse PI for Hire. For God's sake, man, what about the gumshoes? Noir. Yeah, they have a review for it. PI for Hire Steam screenshots. They review for it on IGN. Let me see what they gave it as for the review. Long review too. Gave it a 6. Says it's okay. Mouse PI for Hire is amusing enough. First-person shooter if you just want to blast some cartoon mice and not think about it too hard. But its haphazard marriage of noir storytelling and boomer shooter action are at odds in uncomfortable ways that weaken both aspects. That's from Will Borger of Reviewed on PC. So, again, not something I'd be able to play because it is a first-person shooter, which is a bummer. This is also from IGN. We'll just read this quick. Sony Pictures at CinemaCon, everything that was revealed. Spider-Man Brand New Day, Jumanji Open World, and a Bloodbourne animated film. Spider-Man Brand New Day gets a new clip and 2 new posters, which I went over already. Clip starts in a coffee shop and sees Peter listening to Ned placing an order. Tells someone on the phone that he will call them right back. Ned leaves and he follows him out. Turns out Ned was going to a party and brought some drinks, and Peter walks in and tries to blend in. Peter is walking around uncomfortably with a cup, and he walks into a room and finds the little figure of Spider-Man. He sees articles on the wall of Spidey and other things, and it's revealed this is Ned's room. We also learn Ned knows Spider-Man saved him and his friends a few times during high school, and ever since then, he's been trying to find out who he is. He doesn't want to tell the world his identity, just wants to thank him, and to do so, he's created an app called Spider Tracker. We learn Ned knows Spider-Man is from Queens, and that he has 2 prime suspects of who he could be, Flash Thompson and Martin stars Roger Harrington. MJ walks in as she is complaining about how crowded the party is. She notices Peter standing there with some flowers he bought. She says, "Nice flowers." Of course, we saw this in the trailer. And he responds by saying thanks and introducing himself as Maynard. Ned is confused as to why this Maynard is here and says he is a neighbor, to which MJ responds, "Friendly neighbor." Ned then follows MJ and they talk about a job she got but turned down, saying she doesn't want to work for a soulless corporation. She also says, "Something tells me I should be waiting for something great." MJ's boyfriend, who's played by Ahsoka's Iman Esfandi, plays Ezra, walks in and says, "The wait is over." He follows up with, "You can't save everyone," to which MJ says, "I can try." And they kiss. Peter is not happy, as you'd imagine. We then get a quick sizzle reel of Spidey leaping off a building and other stuff we previously saw in the trailer. Oh, and some footage of damage control guys pointing guns on Spidey. He says, "Give me a sec. And I'm not in high school anymore." And he flips and swings around and takes them all down. Sony also reiterated that Spider-Man No Way Home was its biggest movie ever. And it reminded the world of how the first trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day was the single most watched trailer ever, with over 1 billion views in less than 1 week. Speaking of which, you can check that trailer out on IGN's website. So beyond the Spiderverse clip, they also go over that. Made a big splash at Comic-Con with an extended look at early unfinished footage from the start of the film that's being called the final chapter of Miles' story. The footage begins with a helicopter flying overhead as Miles says, "There's no Spider-Man here." We also see the end of the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse with him knocked out by himself / the Prowler. That was, of course, himself as Prowler that beat him up. A version of himself. He wakes up and we get an exchange between the two, Miles and Uncle Aaron. Miles, who we will call Miles 1, says they have to let him go and that he is Miles Morales. The other Miles, who we'll call Miles 2, says Morales. You can't even say it right. Just as they argue about the proper way to pronounce their last name. So that is Miles 1 then tells them that his dad will die in 2 days, and he explains canon events to Miles 2 and Aaron. They both think it sounds ridiculous. Miles begins to glitch again as Miles 2 says, "You're pretty mouthy for a guy chained to a bag." Miles responds by saying, "You know what they say, don't watch the mouth, watch the hands." Just then he uses his powers to blast free, and we then cut to a montage of Gwen waking up and Miles fighting himself. Peter B. Parker then shows up and hands baby May to Spider-Ham, who says he'll gladly watch over her, but he's all out of milk. The last of footage shows the return of Kingpin. Glimpses the Spot and Spider-Man 2099, and Rio saying to Miles, "I asked you to be tough. You're not tough. You're strong." Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse will be released in theaters June 18th of 2027. So there you go. There's a description of that. Bloodbourne, I talked to you guys about this already, getting a film by produced by Jacksepticeye. Got a lot of cheers from the audience. Jumanji open world footage shows how the game had entered into the real world. And of course, all the stars were there. The Rock was there. Jack Black was there. Zach Krager teases Resident Evil. Began that says that he has put an embarrassing number of hours into playing these games, and the franchise absolutely is the gold standard of survival horror. See a man walking towards a house in the snow. I think I read this one to you guys before. Insidious. I'm not going over that because, I know. And then, of course, they also had some stuff on the Social Reckoning, which was the Social Network sequel. Legend of Zelda film has wrapped filming, but really nothing about it other than that. Helldivers. And I think that is it. Well, guys, there you have it. I gave you everything I had about about all the stuff that was going on at CinemaCon, and pretty much everything else. So we're a little over 2 hours. I knew it was going to be a lot, and I'll have more for you on the next pod from the wrap-up of CinemaCon, which, of course, wraps up with Disney. So that'll be a big Marvel one. Who knows? That may even be when we get the first Doomsday trailer. Some are saying that it could show up very, very soon. Some are saying that it won't show up until Spider-Man. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think we're going to get something after they show it on during the Disney panel. I'm sure that's what's going to be their big thing, among other stuff. But I'm sure Doomsday will be the big thing. They may even have a cast there. They may have Robert Downey Jr. there. Who knows? But I believe that we are going to see our first trailer from Doomsday right probably after CinemaCon. So, well, guys, listen, that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of Snap Decisions. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was a little bit longer, but I had a lot of movie stuff to go over. And I hope you're enjoying all of the stuff that I do, along with the Snap stuff, of course, which this is, of course, based on. But I hope you're enjoying all the other stuff as well. Again, I want to shout out, I was listening to Snap on This, which, again, I'm a part of the Snap Judgments League of Podcasts, which includes Snap on This, which is hosted by Lauren Whatevs. They have also, of course, Benjamin Roller, and It's Just Ree on the show as well. But yeah, I appreciated the comment that she made about my show and how I kind of, I do things a little bit differently. I know that. And I just hope that you all enjoy it for what it is. I like to try to, and she put it really well, saying I like to try to tie everything together. And that's kind of really what it is. It's not just Marvel Snap, but it's Marvel Snap. Where does it come from? Obviously, it comes from the comic books. What does the comic books lend itself to? Recently, at least, it lends itself to TV and movies, and video games and all that kind of stuff too. So, yeah, I kind of like that description. I was glad to hear that. And yeah, but check out their podcast as well. It comes out every single Friday, YouTube and on podcast platforms all over the place. But it's always fun to listen to. Ree had a good section about comics on this one. And, of course, they were talking about their weeks in the game and how Lauren made her fastest infinite climb. So that's kind of cool. So go check that out every single Friday. It's called Snap on This. And then, of course, Glazer's Pod, Snap Judgments. We wouldn't be here without it, obviously, the Snap Judgments League. But, yeah, Glazer is a busy man, always doing things every single day. I know he's been streaming some different stuff. I think he was doing some Slay the Spire. He does other games as well. So make sure you check out his Twitch for that. And also check out his videos that he does on decks and all that kind of stuff, too. So Glazer is one of the good ones in Marvel Snap. So, all right, guys, don't forget to check out the poll this week. Well, not a poll, but the question this week of which is the best 2 cost in Marvel Snap. The 1 cost was pretty overwhelming, so we'll see, overwhelmingly chosen, I should say. So we'll see what the 2 is, if the 2 is similar to that, and if that one's voted on by pretty much everybody also. So I'm interested to see. It'll be fun to see where that goes. So, and I'll, of course, be talking about the rest of CinemaCon and stuff like that, too. So if you're interested in all that, all you got to do is go to any social or YouTube or whatever and look up CinemaCon, and you'll get to see reports from all kinds of different people about it. Everything awesome, everything always are 2 good ones that talk about Marvel stuff as well. So I'm sure the last day of the con, which I think is Thursday, is the day that Disney has planned for their exhibit and stuff and all their things. So that's when I'm sure we will hear something about Doomsday. So among other things. And there's a lot of stuff going on in between. You got Paramount, you've got Warner Brothers, all that kind of stuff that's going to have things going on tonight and then tomorrow, of course, as well. And then they wrap it all up on Thursday. So if there's any kind of breaking stuff about Doomsday, I may do a separate pod about it. If something really big happens, like if we get a trailer, I'll probably do like a short pod on either Thursday night or Friday, and just kind of cover what was shown and what happened with it, because of course that's huge if we finally get our first trailer for that. So, all right, guys, listen, I wish you all a very, very good week in Marvel Snap. Of course, however you choose to play it, enjoy the new card. Go read some comics, because like I said, it's just fun to do. And I hope to see you all on the next episode of Snap Decisions. This is your Snap DJ signing off.